Have the actually workshop next Sunday
Correct.
from 1 to 5. 1 to 4:30, if I understand, and that's only $25.
Correct.
And what you're talking about is unique way of understanding yoga. It's about letting how to get control of your muscles, facials, nerves, and joints by letting go of tension, stress, and habit patterns.
Correct.
Tell me about that a little bit.
Well, what surprises most people is that where most of the therapists, coaches, trainers are talking about strengthening muscles to have better posture, to get rid of pain, and so forth, I have always found that it's more about relaxing and lengthening muscles. For example, little children, 2, 3, 4 years old, they sit upright perfectly straight, they stand up straight perfectly right, they have very fluid movement, and they never went to a Pilates or a yoga thing. You know, they never had to just train their body to have good posture. It's built in by nature at birth to have great posture and fluid movement. So rather than try to train your muscles to become stronger, what I do is focus on releasing the tensions in the muscles, the stresses and tensions that build up over our lives that are actually interfering with the natural forces, which are primarily gravity and water pressure within the body. The water in our body, which is a substantial amount, literally buoys us up. But our contracting muscles over the years unbuoys us, pulls us down, and then we end up fighting gravity instead of working with gravity.
And is that why some older people get more rigid in their actions, more jerky and more...
Correct. My concept is chronic excess muscle and nerve tension, or cement for short, and the muscles get all contracted, they compress the joints, prevent the nerves from transmitting their information correctly, and it interferes with movement by literally stiffening or hardening the body. That's why I call it cement.
Wow, wow. How did you get started in this different, unique yoga? There was one saying, I had it on a paper. I lost the paper. It was about yoga being no stress. What?
No pain,
no pain, more gain.
No pain, more gain.
Right.
You know, that just flies right in Jane Fonda's face. Tell me about it. Tell me about the no pain, no gain.
The main problem with pain is that if you're in pain, your body doesn't like it and it doesn't usually relax. So if I'm poking you, even if it doesn't hurt, if I'm poking you and irritating you, you're not going to relax.
Right.
So with a lot of yoga and different exercise, they go up to, they call the edge, but for a lot of people they just think, well, that's what I can tolerate is the edge. I say the very first layer of sensation at all, you stop right there and hang out and breathe and let that first layer of resistance with no pain whatsoever. Unless, the idea is it's easier to walk through a door if you open the door first.
Right.
And you can't peel an onion from the inside out. So you start at that first layer of resistance in the muscles and let each surface layer release one at a time. So you literally sink deeper into the posture by relaxation and gravity, rather than pulling yourself deeper into the posture, which in order to do that, what most people are doing is contracting their muscles, which is the opposite of what you really want to be doing if you want to relax, decrease your stress, and decrease your tension.
Now, in our conversation yesterday, you told me that you started as a welder.
I was an iron worker, heavy construction, putting up the columns and the beams, 60-pound tool belts and 10-pound sledgehammers and all that.
And that brought you to understanding the form of the body.
My father was one of the top iron workers in the country. He taught me how to plumb up a building, how to make them straight, and the knowledge of straightening up steel buildings transferred right over to straightening up bony skeletons.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
I mean, it's sort of like how we're all on a path and we go to the end, to where we're supposed to be by, now, what do you call this kind of yoga that you teach now?
I've been calling it let go yoga, letting go of tension, stress, and habit patterns, and how to get control of your muscles, fascia, nerves, and joints. The idea is that by releasing the tension, your natural processes will be restored. The parasympathetic system, which is the primary control of your healing, immune, restoration functions. The parasympathetic nervous system is stimulated primarily by moderate to mild or weak stimulus to the nervous system. So I designed Let Go Yoga to be a mild stimulus to stimulate the health systems of the body, whereas if you do the more aggressive exercises and stretching, It turns off the parasympathetic, so it turns it down, and turns on the sympathetic, which is the fight or flight. And so the fight.
So we naturally get this fight or flight response when we're exercising?
Technically, yes. It's not as extreme as if a saber-toothed tiger is staring down your throat, but it's still, yes.
So we're so focused on the exercising, we're not allowing the healing energy? Is that what you're saying?
Correct. It's what I call the health fitness spectrum. You can focus on fitness or you can focus on health. There's no real great in between. You got to do both. It's balance. You got to do some light Tai Chi, let go yoga, restorative yoga on one end of the spectrum, and then you can do your power yoga, Ashtanga yoga, or regular old exercise at the other end of the spectrum, but you need the balance.
And you will help us find balance this Wednesday night. It's a free conversation. What will we hear on Wednesday night when we come?
I'll explain more.
At the Ohm Center, by the way. It's
1216 Howard Street.
That's right. What will we hear?
We'll be talking about the no pain, more gain in more detail as to why that works. I'll be actually demonstrating how the muscles, strengthening muscles actually interferes with your posture rather than balancing or supporting.
Are you kidding me? Strengthening muscles make me have worse posture?
Well,
I think about my posture all the time. If
you strengthen them by contracting and shortening them and don't do enough counterbalancing to release the tensions, you can have a very strong muscle without it being tense. The idea that we need to walk around with tense muscles is just not correct.
Wow.
Wow, was it right?
Yeah. Okay, so, and as I understand this, you can sort of tell where the person is by their posture. Is that correct?
That you can take that generalization too far, but yes, you can tell a lot.
Wow. So we could come Wednesday night and get a free information from you about this. What do you call the program again? DSL?
Edge work. It's about playing the edge. It's a combination of the term edge and body work, because I also do hands-on muscle therapy. But the whole system overall is a combination of the let-go yoga and the other elements that work with.
And then the class is next Sunday.
Right, and that's where you actually learn how to release your muscles, how to restore this posture, and it's amazing how much you can learn in a short period of time.
Well, and I'm pretty impressed that the price is $25. I mean, that's easily acceptable.
Gotta get the door open. So.
Yeah, it's easily acceptable. Now, yesterday when I came to you and you were working on my arm, the broken arm, by the way, just between everybody, I want you to all know, I made the sign of the cross the first time in church today, so I felt really pretty cool. But you were working on my arm, and what you were actually doing is just putting your finger, so you do healing work too.
Well, yes, yeah.
And you were putting your finger and just holding it in a spot. What were you doing exactly?
Well,
talk to me about that. It was a little weird.
The theory is
but
that if you want to activate the nerves that will deactivate the tension in your muscles, that what works best in my 30 plus years of experience is you put steady pressure on the belly of the muscle, hold that pressure and wait for the muscle to release, and make sure the client is not hurting, that you're not in pain. That way you relax more easily, and the steady pressure in the muscles triggers the nerve endings at the end of the muscle and other nerve endings that send a signal to your central nervous system and lower part of your brain, and they send a signal back to the muscle and say, relax please. And if you're not in pain, not irritating, then most of the time
now, can this help someone with a lower back pain?
Helps all kinds of things.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. And you're doing healing work at the Ohm Center too?
Well, I do yoga therapy at the Ohm Center.
Private, one-on-one?
Yes.
Okay. And the number to find out about that is 402-345-5078. If you've ever met Sandy Aquila, you'll fall in love with her. It's the Ohm Center, the Omaha Healing Arts Center. They also have on once a month, Sandy, they have, let's see if I recall the...
Poetry Slam?
The Poet Slam. I've gone to a couple of the Poet Slams, really creative. And we had the Poet Slam artist in here.
We did. We had a couple of the guys out on that.
That's
Adele
really,
too, I think.
Real good.
Friday night, we have Louder Than a Bomb previewing, screening there. Friday night, this Friday night.
Friday night, Louder Than a Bomb?
Yeah, it's the Poetry
screening?
Slam that they did with the high schoolers.
Okay, well, we got none of that on air, but Jim was throwing
Go to the
mic
website.
at you. Throwing the mic at you. Actually, it's at the Ohm Center. There's a Facebook page, and you do send out announcements. So I would suggest you go down to the Ohm Center and become part of their Facebook. Are you on Facebook, young man, yet?
A little bit, but there's not a lot there yet.
Okay.
LetGoYoga.com is the website for the general public.
LetGoYoga.com.
All one word, no hyphen.
Well, I must tell you, I had someone who did the salutations every morning. He does that for the, and you were talking about the salutations, and he wanted me to ask you why you thought that might not be the best way. And what he was explaining to me, it was like talking Greek. I had no clue. So tell me about the salutation.
Some people have so much tension and stress in their body, if they do sun salutations too aggressively, they will actually pull muscles or strain nerves or so forth. So, and a lot of people just don't know that they have a lot of this stress and tension in their body. So they get to do any kind of exercise, not just sun salutations. If they do it too aggressively, they risk. And because people believe that yoga is safer, which it can be, there's a tendency to not treat themselves as gently and be as careful. So what I tell people is you actually do the let go yoga to warm up to do the sun salutations.
Wow. Well, he was telling me about it. I had no clue what he was talking about. It was interesting. He wanted me to ask you, so I did. This was David Scott Lynn, who's going to be at the Ohm Center this Wednesday night, free discussion. You can just go on down there. What time, David?
7:30.
7:30. That's at 1216 Howard Street, Old Market. Great little place. The phone number is 402-345-5078.